in order to kind of bait out the first 2 picks from your opponents. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
Team is banning.
It is time to cook up something mischievous, something devious for both of these coaches. Once again, the Hylas being the priority. Also, the Hayabusa, 3 games let go in the first match earlier of Onyx versus Seoul United. Not gonna see the light of day in the first game of Rebellion versus BTR.
Alright, man. Hylas, Tsushin, and the Hayabusa. Zask still on the table, but for both these teams, I'm wondering what the idea is. We've seen that in the previous match, where it's kind of contrasting as well between Fnatic, Onyx, and Dewa. It all came down to just brawls, right? These big fights. For now, with the kind of Rebellion seeing that earlier, are they also going to gravitate more towards that playstyle? Or are they going to try and do more creative things, like split pushing, or like pick off? Because we haven't seen a lot of diversity when it comes to strategy in Season 14. All comes down to being clean, being good in the setup, and then going for a straight-on dominant fight.
I think those diversity plays is what matters in the international scene, right? If you want to compete against the best of the best, especially the Filipinos, you're gonna be able to, you know, approach the game from multiple different ways.
Absolutely, and for BIGETRON Alpha, that should come through the way of a Roger first pick. We've seen the Roger become an absolute beast of a prio pick here in Season 14, and it was banned out all 3 games earlier. They actually opted to go for the Zask, so less flexibility, but more on just a prio for Moreno, leaving the Roger up for grabs for Rebellion. Maybe this is also one of the many ways that BIGETRON are looking to expose Rebellion, who usually never go for the Roger, whether it be in the gold or even in the jungle for Ryota.
Great point there.
Sir,
On top of that, BIGETRON with their better execution, they usually want to have the Zask for the Nightmare Spawn scouting to kind of pressure Rebellion into making the first move. Now they have Fanny and Ruby taking away one of the counters and the Fanny at the same time. For BIGETRON though, going straight for the Moskov, having your own mobility tools, having your own built-in crowd control tool, great ways for Eman to try and outplay this Fanny potentially.
Your team is picking.
And the Arla 2 here. So that's the flex pick that they end up with here in the first phase. Is Rebellion have a chance to go for another flex pick. They can honestly still go for, what, maybe an Edith here if they want to. But looking at the composition against BIGETRON Alpha, they would. It's probably wiser if they went for an Aurora or a Faramis to try to counter the Zask.
Yep, a lot more control and also some appeal for some of the gold laners, some of the TPS that you have. Not much far. 3rd pick. Let's see what's gonna happen here. You have already a good kill pressure with the Ruby and also the Fanny in the early game. Now, what do you want to combo it with?
Ideally, crowd control or additional burst damage can be very beneficial, but turns out it's gonna be that Roger finally showing through. So great flexibility here from Rebellion actually. All things considered, it's not even impossible for the Ruby to get flexed over to the gold lane. Like we were talking about earlier, put Matt in some of those weird picks that we've seen succeed in Season 14.
Roger in MPLPH so far had a 100% pick and ban rate. You can see the priority that this guy brings to the table, man. The flexibility and also the survivability is something that really a lot of marksmen doesn't really offer. So it is a good pick nonetheless, even though at this point it's not really flexible anymore. It's gonna be Matt on the Roger for sure. It's gonna be Nolan. Ban for Coach Far against Superken.
Alright, so no Nolan for Superken. For BIGETRON, if they want to go for an assassin, they themselves have banned away the Hayabusa. That Nolan, the Joy is an option, but especially with the Ruby already shown out there, might be a bit too risky, a bit too dangerous. Superken has been known to brave those odds before, but, you know, we'll see. Maybe that's exactly what what BIGETRON are trying to threaten and force Rebellion to ban away.
Imagine, Yin picked. It's a Aaron versus Mikasa.
Oh, that definitely would be an interesting matchup to watch. But hey, we have a history for X-Win here.
Yeah, 4th place in MPL Malaysia Season 13. And so far, the MPL Malaysia quote-unquote import back to Indonesia has been very polarizing. Matt, obviously one of them, and also Sutsujin have been having a really great season so far in RRQ, possibly one of the best junglers in MPL right now. And now X-Win is looking to recreate the
Hope
story
will find a way.
with
Your team,
Even
a
when
team
all
that
is forlorn.
hasn't picked up a win at all in the season.
It definitely seems like BIGETRON Alpha, I mean, with the Vexana ban too, are they setting up for a possible Tigreal pick here? Gonna go for some massive initiations. Up against Rebellions, you know, Fanny, it would definitely make sense. The only problem really is the Ruby, right? If you want to go for the Tigreal, you'd have to be really, really crafty and intelligent. I think Key, El Momento, should be able to pull it off if they really want to go for it.
It's definitely an option if they want to shut down the assassins, but are they going to try and go for something maybe a bit more aggressive? Something they can go into the jungle of Rebellion and cause havoc there instead. Can be an attempt, but for now, for Rebellion, Valentina comes through. Usually Moreno will love to have this as an option, but now it's in the hands of Sway Low, the guy that used to be one of the more flexible players in the league. See what he can do with the final slash, with the Dominus Descent. A lot of ways for Rebellion to approach these fights now.
Okay, so Assassin on the other side. I want to ask you a question, Arashi. Usually when we see an Assassin or Lane in seasons and seasons ago, it's an automatic Hilda. Why is it not the case in Season 14?
It's an automatic what?
Hilda.
Oh. Well, I think it's just a difference in strategy, because back then the jungle, you know, the disturbance from the Hilda is just a lot more difficult. Now I think teams just really want to have a strong card control tool on top of the survivability. And for BIGETRON, they're going with the Alpha to match the clear, and they have the Kufra as again, a good mix of defensive, cancellation on the steel cables, but also a chance for El Momento to make something happen and dive in straight out of sight from the Ruby, right? Catch him completely off guard in the way that the Hilda can't really match.
Grok is an option here for Rebellion Esports, knowing that you have Kufra on the other side. It works well with the power of nature, and also Arlit. You see, in game number 3, I believe, Fnatic Onyx NTY United, Res picked out a Grok EXP against an Arlit. It might not have been played in the XP this time of the game, but it's still gonna work a bit well this time. But it's gonna be Tigreal. I'm just yapping.
Yeah, that was a great pick for the Valentina there, Rebellion. When they picked up the Valentina, it kind of erased whatever BIGETRON Alpha was planning with the Tigreal. So they ended up leaving it open, and Rebellion takes that chance up against the Alpha. It's a really good pick. The only problem being, you know, for the Arlit, it could be a good way to cancel this. So really, it's a battle of execution with that Tigreal pick from Rebellion Esports. BIGETRON, though, winning in both counter index and the lineup rating for match number 2.
There's some light from Rebellion Esports' composition. Early to mid-game potential differs by 2 points, which is quite high in this draft index, even though BIGETRON Alpha overall does win out on the overall statistics. Now, let's see if the Blue Bulls can make it happen. Mission impossible against the top of the standings, the apex predator of Season 14 so far. Is it gonna be Rebellion Esports or BIGETRON Alpha?
First place up against 9th. Heaven and Earth, the battle begins now. As we enter the land of Dawn. Super Luke on the Arlit, Cars on the Ruby. It does seem like this is going to be the Matt versus Eman battle, the battle of the ages.
Let's see how this plays out. Oh,
Hey.
Immediately, short break in the action.
Exactly.
I gotta say, man, what
Keep you
really
on your
caught my
toes.
eye in the stats earlier was the survivability. For Rebellion, it was like 2 points higher, and that's great and all, but if they can't really put themselves in position to benefit from that survivability, then it will be for nothing. It's only a matter of time before BIGETRON shreds them down. So the execution needs to be great here. They have tools available, they have strong picks, but they have to make sure that they put their focus and their priority in the right places.
Yep. So, technical break with Campina. Don't forget to drink your ice cream at home with
come on.
Campina. A lot of flavors out there, and also a lot of flavors in the draft for Rebellion. I like the fact that they picked a Fanny. That's it. I love a Fanny.
That's it?
Yeah,
That's the only thing you
well,
like about the draft? What
that's
about
the thing that
Roger?
I
What
like
about
the
Matt finally
most.
getting a pick that's not Moscow?
It's just a joy to see Fanny being picked in MPL. That's what I mean.
I mean, yeah, we did see that as well. BIGETRON Alpha actually lost on the Fanny up against Evo's Glory, who were able to just fully counter the Fanny, getting a Brody last pick. It was double value against the Moscow plus the Fanny. And then we saw the entire team just go for full physical defense, bro.
Even Fabian against Evo's Glory
Oh,
actually lost out against Francis' spear getting stuck on the wall. And the fact that he had
That was more of a throw from Fabian, though.
Yeah, to be honest, you're right. But the
Risky
fact that
play.
he was early, in the early game, he was like 7-0 to Rush.
They were
It's
stomping.
not about how you start, it's about how you finish.
Absolutely,
It's just the way
Gandhi.
it is in the land of Dawn. But you have to keep in mind as well, that matchup you're talking about, Shevin, the Fanny against a Moskov. And now the Moskov is in the hands of BIGETRON, and you can bet a lot of odds that Eman definitely has plans for how to deal with this Fanny. And for Rebellion, if they're not careful, this Fanny can absolutely be shut down.
Huge potential for Ryota as well, because he's known for the assassins. Even though no wins for Rebellion so far this season, we saw some glimpse of brilliance from Ryota, even in Snapdragon Pro Series, with the Hayabusa, with some of the assassins that he picked. Now, like, what's gonna happen here with the Fanny, considering that a lot of counters has been picked, even the Kufra, and in a way, Arlet can final slash towards the cables of Fanny, and it would be a problem on its own.
Yeah.
I wonder how the mid lane is going to look along with the roamers, right? Technically, it's a Zask along with a Zask. Oh, is it Zask Kufra? Good clear so far against a Fanny and a Tigreal. Definitely not playmaking tools for the side of Rebellion, but looking at the player head-to-head here, I mean, Emma has Matt beat on everything, but the average KDA is definitely where the biggest difference is. Whereas if you look at the hero pool, Roger and Moskov are actually both there, and you can see that it's just a huge difference, right? And I don't think it's comparable to compare the both of them right now. When it comes to the typical gold lane picks, I feel like Eman definitely has Matt beat by a long shot. Or dare I say, like, by a far shot.
By a far shot.
It's a
Shepard.
tricky... What?
I have a question for you now. You think X-Win will be able to get Rebellion their first win? He has win in his name.
I trust in them.
You trust him. Okay.
Okay.
I guess we'll
Also
see how
have-
good he can be, you know? Like, I mean, oh, never mind. We're going to get into the game.
Boom. Right away. Let's see what happened earlier. No kills just yet. Only 1 minute elapsed, so we didn't really miss out on too many actions. Besides this high octane mage in the gold lane of Matt versus Eman. The stats doesn't matter, Rashi, as long as Matt is winning. Well,
But hang on a second. You said a Tigreal kind of walked out of the base of Rebellion, so what happened there? Already level 4 for both junglers. The Super 10 tries to go for the SP buff. Ryota tries to go for a punish. Has to be careful about this though, with all the crowd control tools available. Ambulance for Indie Home shows that tankiness is the name of the game. Firmness for Cars and for X-Win. And for the side of BIGETRON, 3 tenacities even. Everyone knows they're going to get low enough in these fights that the slightest bit of HP difference can make or break those team fights.
Two BIGETRON gold laners, right? XBTR for Matt, both of them just flashing the emotes.
yeah. Interestingly enough, Rashi, Suelo getting jumped on. I don't think nothing's gonna happen here, just a bit of HP chunked up. But Super can, X-Win is already in position. I don't think it's gonna do that much in this case.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Doesn't have the implosion either. Super can now gets the Spear of Alpha, gets the Retribution as well. X-Men gonna be able to knock him up. He looking for a play. Super Luke jumping in with a vengeance. Mono smash the Sun now connecting into the Tyrant's Revenge, forcing the Dominators to send that first blood over to Luke. And I'm not too sure about this Dominator's descent. That's a stun over. Luke going for the chase and now just recalls in the face of Suelo.
Just poetry in motion, man. Knowing that what your teammate can do, the combo Final Slash and also Tyrant's Revenge and Rage. It is just so beautiful.
Chef.
It looks like.
Live.
Oh yeah, I can dream, man. I can only dream.
Well, he's on a different team, Shevin, but that's respectable from you. Give him a shout out. But yeah, like you said, Shevin, the way that fight played out, the Final Slash into the Tyrant's Rage, into Moreno, even landing the stun with the Dominator's Descent form. BIGETRON just have a full idea on how they want these fights to play out, and Rebellion, unless they really do something unexpected and force BIGETRON to react differently, it's gonna go south for them, man. They have to take risks, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
Something is better than just a consistent, slow burn towards the bottom for Rebellion.
Time bomb for Rebellion. They do have an insurance in the late game with Matt on the Purify, but overall, when you're playing with a Fanny, if you're not winning the early game, then when else you're gonna win it?
Well, now with the Tigreal from X-Win, we're looking forward to see his impact right here, but he's kind of been stuck on escort duty for Ryota. But now with 4 members gearing up to take this purple buff away from him, X-Win goes in.
Going in for the opponent gets cancelled instantly. X-Win trying to go for a big play, but ends up getting munched on instead. Damage to 10 coming down as Ryota goes back and forth, finds the cables. Trying to go for the chase over again. Moreno will be able to escape. It ends up being 1-for-1. It's XP for Rome in favor of Rebellion.
XP for Rome. We can't quite catch who got the purple buff. Matt and Mando duking it out. But look at the turtle. Super Ken immediately goes on it. The efficiency on this guy is definitely one of his strong suits. I don't think he got the purple buff in that engagement though. The Cars won't be able to see anything about that turtle take. BIGETRON with a 1k gold difference early on. And man, second gold buff secured as Key goes in. Threatens X-Win to back off.
Knowing the exact damage that he can output with that Spear of Misery, man. Just the knockback 2 times, I believe. As you said, Arashi. Meanwhile, though, look at that. Just playing with his limits, man. Just getting all the golds that's available. And Matt is just absolutely dominated so far. Half HP.
Iman's just having a good time now. Going to be able to shove in this wave. He's actually been soaking in some of the mid waves, too. Rotating earlier. Luke doing the same thing.
And some of the items right here. Thunderbolt completed for Luke already. Definitely a huge problem.
Ooh.
Matt, though, also has one of his own. Whereas the Heptacy is from the Fanny. Whoa!
Great final slash. The Purify coming down. Matt able to use the Lycan for the dash shot. Cars gonna be caught now. Moreno just going through that HP bar like it's nothing.
It feels like BIGETRON Alpha is pulling the trigger left and right, and Rebellion Esports just forced to respond on every occasion. And they have a Fanny. You should be able to make something, at least in the early game.
Seeing it earlier, again, Super Ken with the creative usage of the Spear of Alpha, using it to kind of drag a lot of the buffs away. Also using it, by the way, to earlier guarantee that X-Win won't be able to stop him in the midst of a turtle take. Now Swalo has a diminished descent, but there's nowhere for him to actually use it on. 3k gold difference for BIGETRON. And Rebellion are just taking the passive approach. They're just taking a lot of damage, getting poked down, and they're waiting for Super Luke or Key to make the move.
And at this point, Eman, I think if he were to 1v1 Ryota as well, might be resulting towards Eman's victory, as he had that Demon Hunter Sword earlier, so the damage is still there, or already there, for this guy. The Turtle Swan. Now, can Rebellion Esports can make something happen?
There you go. Seal. Eman reads it out, doesn't even use the Purify. X-Win and Matt off position. The turtle will just be taken for free. There's no purple buff on the hands of Ryota. Even with the purple buff, it's difficult enough to try to contest an alpha. Now, no purple buff. Turtle taken for free, and I don't know if he can even go for the green camp. Look at Super Ken just screening the Fanny.
Standing there menacingly, he knows that he has the advantage right here, and the whole team is ready to back him up. Taking a play for the mid turret. Rebellion just back away immediately. And look at the jungle of BIGETRON, untouched. They know that when they do have an advantage, they need to go in to the jungle and shut down this Fanny completely. Ryota level 10, already out-leveled by Super Ken on this alpha.
It really seems like BIGETRON Alpha is just taking Rebellion's lunch money, and there's no response at all. Like, everything that they want, they get it. So far, the total, the turrets, even the kills, even Ryota is running away from the presence of Eman.
Ooh, Luke is all alone. Right now going for a good implosion by X-Win. Down to Senti in the back, getting a Tyrant Revenge. Cars gonna be caught, still able to escape with the donut. Won't be the stun, and the final slash takes X-Win back.
Arashi, that was initially a 2v5 with a roamer and an EXP Arlet that doesn't have that much damage. And they're just running away from it.
It's Rebellion lacking in damage. They had Luke in a good position. They can try to capitalize, but even if they did jump on him, they don't have enough damage to actually secure him. It's only going to buy some time for BIGETRON to actually come in and go for, once again, a winning fight. Now look at the positioning here in the bushes. Super Luke and Key on the conceal, exposed by Sway low, but the turret will fall.
No response to second tier turret is already down in the first 9 minutes. A good sign for BIGETRON Alpha. On the other side though, Ryota just trying to make things happen, man. Just play the long lane. Meanwhile, BIGETRON Alpha might be eyeing for it. And
Oh! Final slash, Luke Cameron's revenge, forcing a purify. The Diamond just sent just chunking their HP bars again. Moreno is under the base turret, zoning them away. A spear into the base. Luckily, Suelo was able to get a bit more healing from the fountain. That would have actually killed him. 6K gold lead, 8 minutes, a free Lord coming up.
well, what's gonna be the adjustment at this point, Araj? Because I don't even think they are, you know, making an effort for an adjustment.
They can't even go for the purple. They can't.
They have no control. No one can stay in the front in a safe position. If X1 does it, he gets taken out. Cars, at this point, too squishy as well. No one can stand in the front because they're still concerned about the dive potential. So it's a front-to-back essentially for BIGETRON. And to make things worse, before the fight begins, the poke damage coming in from Moreno is just insane at this point. Already standing on a Divine Glaive along with the Glowing Wand. He's cutting down on regeneration, and Luke at this point also has the Dominus Ice, so he is tanky as heck.
Oh, Cars trying to go for it, gets stunned up, and then thrown back. Tyrant's revenge. He finds one. That's a good final slash through, turning it over. But Moreno again, just dealing so much damage, zapping the back and forth. Supercat gets a Spear of Alpha, slices them to bits. Ryota going back and forth, trying to save the game for Rebellion. 10 minutes and 3 seconds. The Titans, they didn't just stomp through, they tore down Rebellion.